Hi, everybody. Okay, I went to a collector's store and I found this, which is the supposedly originally shrink wrapped. I'm not too sure about that. We'll get to that in a moment. Copy of John and Yoko's wedding album. I already have a few copies of this, which is funny because it's pretty much a useless album, in a way. But for collectors, it's good. I have a few copies. First, I have a US copy, original on vinyl. And then I have a Japanese copy on vinyl in a box. And then finally, I have an edition that was re released a few years ago on white vinyl. And this is 8-track. It contains one 8-track cartridge. So, yeah, this is going to be a sealed to reveal, which means I'm going to actually open this. I know. This could be a collector's item as is, but I have my doubts as to whether or not this is originally, uh, you know, sealed as it's supposed to be from 1969, or whether this is just reshrunk. So we're going to examine this a little closer. There's some imperfections underneath. There's dirt and grime underneath and marks, and the back of the cover itself is kind of dirty underneath the shrink wrap. So, well, we'll go into details in a moment, and let's open this baby up. Okay, well, first of all, it's not in perfect condition in the sense that there are bubbles here, ripples underneath the shrink wrap, which you can see here. A lot of these, like the glue, is bubbled up, so that's not really too nice. Let's see it all along the sides there. Some down here. Right down there. See? So, not perfect in that sense. Now, when I look at this, I can see there's the actual, looks like there's a breathing hole there from the shrink wrap. This could be the original shrink wrap. I don't know. Certainly appears in a way there in the corner and over there. I don't really know for sure. And on the back, sorry about the awkward camera, but up there's another breathe hole. I call it a breathe hole. I don't know if that's the right term. I mean, it's not perfect. This is almost 55 years old. And when you look real close, you can see like dirt underneath. I always wonder about these. I think a lot of albums are reshrunk. I'm not saying for sure that this is, but up there, see there's dirt there. That's underneath the shrink wrap. That doesn't look like it's original. Doesn't look like all along the edge you got dirt there. Doesn't seem clean enough to me. Reshrunk. And the reason I'm going to be opening this is because, as you see, another breathe hole under the G there. This does me no good, quite frankly. The thing about the wedding album, of course, it's nothing to listen to. It's just an experimental type of album, and it's not of much value as far as audio is concerned and the listening pleasure. What I like about this is the novelty of it. What's inside. That's why I enjoy it. It's a good package. It's a fun package. So, before I open it up, let's see there. There's a wedding album, John and Yoko, one 8-track cartridge. Another ripple there. Look at those bumps, glue bumps. Yeah. So as I say, I don't have any intention on reselling this anytime soon. And as far as the value of it goes, I think for resale value, if that day should come, I don't think whether it's in shrink wrap or not in shrink wrap, I don't think that really matters as far as what you get for it. I honestly, in this particular case, I think it's just as rare and unusual without the shrink wrap as it is with. So I'm going to open it. Okay, let's grab a piece of the cellophane. I don't have an X-Acto knife or anything to use. I usually use my trusty X-Acto. But I know some people are out there like, no, don't do it, don't do it, the value, the value. As I say, I don't think there's much difference. I think an 8-track edition of this is just as desirable collector's wise. In the Shrink is out, and we don't really know if this is the original shrink wrap or not, to tell you the truth. And the more I'm looking at this, you know, outside the shrink, you know, there were so many imperfections. I mean, look. It doesn't exactly look brand spanking new, and there's all kinds of dirt and grime on there, you know, underneath. So let's go. Now, before I open this, let's keep in mind that there's a possibility, as I'm well aware, that maybe there's nothing in here. If this was already pre-used, there may not be everything in here, not even an 8-track tape. So let's figure out how to open this. Give me a little moment here. You only get one shot at this, folks. Only get one shot. Okay. There we have the wedding certificate of marriage. This is why, you know, I enjoy this from a collector's standpoint. As I say, this is nothing to listen to. This is not a great piece of work, you know, not John's finest hour. But now, there's some of the stuff on the inside. I can feel what feels like an 8-track under there. But is this the way they presented it originally, if it was sealed? Let's find out. Alright. First you've got, I forget all the goodies that are in here. This is a little booklet. I'll try to show you this in a bit. Okay, you have the strip. Looks like, you know, the photo booth strip of John and Yoko. In the photo booth. Postcard. All right. Okay. I'll show you what this is later. Bag is in a plastic bag. It's actually a facsimile of the piece of the wedding cake. We'll get to that. I'm very happy about one thing. I'll show you in a moment. We can get to this in a little bit. And this too, I mean, look, this is, you know, another either a poster or a booklet, I forget which, but see the bottom there? I don't know if this is just because you have nearly 55 years of being inside here. And sometimes if you don't let something breathe, it gets just as bad as if you did open it. So I really don't know. All right, and there it is. Now here's what the part I really like. Okay, I'll tell you what I like about this, apparently. This would appear to be original. And this is what I'm going to put forward here. Why I don't regret opening this. Here's a copy of the 8-track. Now the 8-track itself is in the shrink wrap. It's perfectly shrunk, never been opened. So I think that personally I made a good decision in opening this, because this in and of itself is probably, you know, valuable on its own. Even if I was just one day to sell this, which again, I have no intention of doing that, but you never know the future. This alone is probably, you know, of interest to collectors. And it's funny because I can see there's like bubbling going on this too. You might not be able to see that. It's like it's lumpy in here, you know. There's that kind of glue. But yeah, no regrets whatsoever about this. Seeing this in itself is cool. Just to have this unopened. Forget about the rest of it. The wedding. This is the reason, as I've been saying over and over again, that it's fun to have this. This is fun as a collector's package, you know. Yeah, it's you know, it's just the audio of it is just John and Yoko saying their names over and over to each other, and Amsterdam. Not really anything that you really would actually want to play over and over. I'm doing the best I can here for people. So you got the toaster. The press. Now, there's so much here. It's newspaper clippings. Cartoons. See, I see Richard Nixon there, a caricature among others, in the bed with John and Yoko. This in itself is a show. So yeah, you can see newspaper headlines. I think this is really cool. Out of all the things you can collect, Beatles and solo Beatles, it's funny how one of the most useless items audibly is actually one of the most intriguing items as far as all the stuff that's included there. So let's have a piece of that wedding cake, shall we? Yeah. Since I've got 4 copies of this, I have 4 different pieces. That's 4 pieces of cake. So, and I showed you the postcard already. And let's peruse this one here a little more. And this looks like John's drawings. I mean, I've looked at this before with the vinyl versions, but it's been a long time, so I don't know right off the cuff what's in here. I don't remember anyway. Some John doodlings. And that's it, folks. So I really enjoyed this after opening it up, after seeing the sealed 8-track, which is really like what you call the money shot, so to speak, or the real nucleus of what's really rare or important here. I'm happy I opened it. What do you think? Cheers, folks.